that's in between. You know, I always have put my son before anyone that I was dating. And if they could not accept my son, they could not have me. They could not accept me as well. In today's generation, I just don't understand these women who put their children on the back burner and put the man that they dating on the front burner. They take care of them, they dress them, they buy them cars, they give them money, they let them come into their house and eat up their children's food, whether they working or not. If they on public assistance, that's worse, because you know they can waste the food just like kids. They can lay up and don't have to work if they own housing, you know, and the women are allowing them to do this. I don't blame a man. If I had it like that on Easy Street, if I could find me somebody like that, and you know, it's pitiful. But I can't blame them. I have to blame the woman for allowing that to go on and treating and neglecting their kids. Then on the flip side of that, you have women, young women, that are taking care of these men that don't want to work, that's sorry. And you doing all the labor. You working and taking all this stuff on these jobs. Then if you're not working and the system coming in, you still taking all this mess that you have to report and lie about. And they just sitting up there on Easy Street, laying up, don't have to work, don't have to worry about having no food in the house. They don't have to worry about paying no bills. See, I used to see this stuff back when I was in my 20s. When I was in my 80s, when I was in the 80s growing up, the same thing that I'm seeing today is still going on that was happening back then. And I never was a person that would take care of a man, because I grew up in a household where the man was the head and the man would take care of the woman. See, I grew up in a household to where my daddy was the breadwinner, and my mother took care of us, and she went to school to do better. You know, she wanted to, get her education, and she did that. My daddy let her go to school while he worked, and she still had to get out of school, study, take care of us, cook the meals, make sure the house was clean, and stay on top of her homework. So I grew up in a house like that, in a household like that. I never did grow up in a house to where my mama had full responsibilities of being the man and the woman. Never had that until I was 12 years old. And my mother and my dad had got a divorce. That's the only time when my mother was the man and the woman. Because you have some of these guys out here, when they get divorced, come on, they feel like their obligations is over. They feel like they don't have to take care of a household anymore. They feel like they don't have to pay no child support or anything like that. Now, that was going on in the 70s. I saw that. And I say, how can a man know that they have children on the outside and don't take care of them. Don't even give them a quarter. Like you don't exist. So I had a problem with that. I sure did. I had a problem with that. Even though I was 12 years old and I saw this going on where my mother had to work 2 and 3 jobs just to, make ends meet. And my mother, she didn't want us to dress any kind of way. So she didn't want us to live any kind of way. It was certain neighborhoods that we couldn't even go into. She wouldn't even allow us to go in there, and if we had friends, because my mother wanted us to be safe while she was working 2 or 3 jobs. Back then, it was a such thing as latchkey kids. You go in there in your house or in your apartment and you lock that door and you don't come back out until mama come home. Or you had the oldest one that was responsible for everybody else, which was me. So today I just don't understand these women who don't put respect on themselves. When I say respect, there are some certain things that I will allow in my house that you can do, and there are certain things that I'm not going to allow in my house. And when I was growing up, you had respect for yourself. You didn't bring no man in there and sleeping in front of your kids and just letting them see everything. Yesterday was Memorial Day, and I was looking out the window. I was visiting my brother, and these kids were just around the grown people. They weren't playing. See, I have a problem with that, because these days you let your children know too much, butt in conversation, see you doing a lot of stuff that you don't need to be doing in front of them. Then when they start disrespecting you, who told you that? Where you hear that? Where you get that from? And when they say you, then you're going to have a problem with it. But on yesterday, I saw them smoking and doing drugs outside. And I'm like, okay, now these kids, one young lady, she had her baby right there. The baby seemed like, well, I call everybody a baby. So the baby probably was about 3 years old, 2 to 3 years old, but inhaling the smoke and the drugs, that's uncalled for. Women do not have no respect for themselves. I'm not saying all women, but some. You know who you are. You know how you dress. You know how you carry yourself. You know who you let in and out of your house, and your children right there, and watching it. Now, I have experienced this from an older woman. Every time she get married, well, that's their daddy. And she wanted them to call her husbands their daddy. Now, I had a problem with that. And I'm like, she was too old, because everybody ain't a daddy. Everybody's not a father. But if I'm marrying somebody on a regular, you're not my child's daddy. My child know who his dad is. So I'm not going to tolerate that either. So it's some things that we allow to go on, and we think it's cute. And everybody ain't going to treat your child the way you treat them. Now, if you treat your child any kind of way, and they looking at this, they seeing this, and They seeing how you cussing them out and how you hitting them upside the head and blase and blase. Of course, after a while, they going to be doing it. Because you so in love with them. You love them. And you should be loving your children. If you treat that man good as gold, your kids should be treated 10 times more than you treat that man. You know what I'm saying? So if you treat that man good, you need to treat your children extra good. So that was on my mind, and it was something else that I can't think of right now, but as soon as I think about it, I will address it. But you know, you have these men that go in prison and have these babies before they go in there, then expect the girls or the young ladies to take care of them while they're in prison. And they out here working instead of them taking care of they children. They taking care of the dude that's locked up. What's up with that? Sending them money. They getting a cell phone while they in jail. You know, doing all kind of things, breaking the law. And call yourself in love with them. And that person may not ever get out. And if they do get out, it's going to be a long time. They don't miss their child or their children most important years when they're young. Then some of them don't care if they miss it or not. So wake up women, wake up young women, wake up young ladies, wake up. I mean, when I was that age, like I said, I didn't tolerate that. I didn't spend no money on no man. Okay? If anything, you had to step up and show to me that you was a man. You had to prove to me that you was a man. Now, I can see if you got a little job and don't have no car, and you trying to get you a car, you trying to do something. But if you up there not trying to do anything, you can move around and keep stepping. Like my grandfather used to say, get the stepping, and he meant that. He would beat them at the door and open it for them. When I look at Martin, it reminds me of my grandfather. He used to do the same thing that Martin did. Tell him get the stepping. So, but if you're trying to do something, then yeah, work with that man. You know, but don't let him use you. But if you see a man that's not trying to do anything, leave him alone. He ain't doing nothing but bringing you down. And you letting them, it's not their fault. Well, part of it is because I don't see a real man wouldn't do a woman like that. But most of the time, it's on you. It's on you. You got the best hand and don't even know it. You got all goods in your hand if you get my drift. And you can call the shots. And you can tell it like a T.I. is. Because you carrying the goods. You don't even know what you got. If you do right and set boundaries and let that man know what you expect out of him and what you're not going to tolerate, he will follow those rules. But you have to be a strong person and set those rules and just don't. Well, I decided to let up off him. I was just being a little too hard. Well, you don't let up on them kids. You don't think you're being too hard on them kids. Yeah, it's best to be firm. Especially if they ain't doing nothing. Like my daddy used to say, the proof is in the pudding. So I just want to put it out here and really soak this in. Let it soak in, let it sink in, and meditate on it. Because it's too much going on, ladies. And you letting them get away with it. So let this sink in, and I would love to hear from y'all. All right, make sure y'all give me a thumbs up. And as my nephew say, like my videos. All right.